We are sure that every one of you has, at some point, heard a story of a plane disappear without a trace. How can something the size of a plane go missing? Not only that, but how can something fail in its intended purpose so badly that it would not be able to complete its flight and then completely disappear? Today, we will discuss one such story, the tale of a U.S. bomber plane and its crew during World War II that went missing without a trace for over a decade. Join us as we delve into the Lady Be Good, or the mysterious ghost plane of World War II. The Lady Be Good was a U.S. Air Force bomber plane docked at Saluch Airfield in Libya. In 1943, the plane and its crew set out on a mission to bomb enemy forces in Naples, Italy. The crew of the Lady Be Good consisted of Pilot Lieutenant William Hatton, Robert F. Toner, D.P. Hayes, John S. Worovka, Harold J. Ripslinger, Robert E. Lamott, Guy E. Shelley, Vernon L. Moore, and Robert E. Adams. The Lady Be Good was part of a fleet of aircrafts that made this journey and is believed to be the last that departed from the base. Due to the fact that so many other bomber planes were part of this fleet, it is difficult to confirm how much of its intended mission the Lady Be Good carried out. What is known is that as part of the formation of bomber planes that left Libya for Naples, Italy, the Lady Be Good became separated from the rest of the squadron at some point. It is unknown whether the plane ever made it to its destination, with speculation that it actually dropped its cargo of bombs into the Mediterranean Sea and returned home. It is understood that Hatton radioed the Saluch base asking for assistance in landing as the navigation system stopped working. This request went unacknowledged, and the men were forced to evacuate the plane. This is where communication stopped. In fact, nothing was ever heard of the plane or its passengers for over a decade. We know that the crew, having been unable to secure assistance in landing, parachuted out of the plane. The harsh reality of the situation was that the men were entirely unaware of where they were when they jumped. It has since been discovered that the plane overshot its landing in North Africa and continued flying for several hours into the desert before the crew attempted to parachute to safety. It begs the question, if the Lady Be Good dropped its cargo of bombs to lighten its load amongst concerns about making it back to base, then how did it manage to overshoot its destination and keep airborne? This is just the beginning of the mysterious tragedy of the doomed plane and its crew. According to reports, Worovka was the only one that did not rejoin the group after parachuting. It is believed that he died due to a malfunctioning parachute without ever seeing another human. It is believed that the rest of the crew members rendezvoused in the desert while the plane continued to soar unmanned. The remaining 8 men were now seemingly stranded somewhere in North Africa with their plane lost in the skies. Given the vast terrain of the surrounding area that may have been covered by the plane, you may not be surprised to learn that search and rescue efforts were considered to be potentially difficult. However, this is further complicated by the fact that no one knew precisely where the Lady Be Good had ended up. The disappearance of an aircraft and military crew drew widespread speculation, with common rumors suggesting that the plane crashed and sank in the Mediterranean. At this point, information about the whereabouts of the Lady Be Good dried up. Nothing is heard of the craft or its passengers for 15 years. In 1958, at this point the war long over, a discovery was made in the mystery of the Lady Be Good from the most unlikely of sources. On an exploration mission to source oil, a team of workers from BP noticed wreckage in northeast Libya. However, no attempt was made to recover it. The following year, another British oil surveyor and his team followed up on a sighting, and a recovery team was arranged. In May of 1959, the Lady Be Good was found, but no remains were with her. No determination could be made at this point about the fate of the men aboard. In fact, after several months, the search was abandoned when the equipment began to deteriorate and fail, and the probability of the airmen being completely covered by shifting sand made the dangers of further search impractical. That is, until 9 months later, when the U.S. Armed Forces ordered a full search for the crew. The bodies of Hatton, Toner, Hayes, Lamott, and Adams were recovered. Over the course of the next months, the bodies of 3 more were found, with only Moore's remains not officially found to this very day. So, we have 3 questions to ask. 1. What went wrong with the plane? 2. What happened to the crew? 3. How long did they manage to survive? Well, let us start with the Lady Be Good, the ghost plane herself. Reports suggest that this failure was down to a navigational error and poor weather conditions. It is believed that the plane's navigator was unable to determine between the inbound and outbound flight paths. As such, they believe they were on a straight trajectory back from Naples, when in reality their exact location was entirely unknown. It is an unbelievable thought that the Lady Be Good actually continued flying without a crew for roughly 26 kilometers until its eventual crash site. But this is the story as it is understood today. It is believed that the crew thought that the plane was much closer to the coast, when in reality it was hundreds of miles inland. Therefore, they considered parachuting a much safer option than it was. In reality, it was very much a death sentence. It is a difficult task to recount the activities of the 8 remaining crew members that are believed to have survived the descent to the ground. That being said, the crew did leave markers in the landscape to show potential search and rescue teams their movements. From this, we can piece together aspects of their final days and the harrowing journey they went on. As well as this, Second Lieutenant Toner's body was found with a diary that recorded some details of the final days of the crew. Between the remnants of the diary and the scattered trail of materials, it is believed that the remaining 8 men survived for 8 days in the desert following their parachute landing. The men are considered to have walked 130 kilometers during this time in the unforgiving terrain. They are thought to have found the crash site of the Lady Be Good and salvaged some supplies to continue their journey. It was a heroic effort of spirit and resolve, but ultimately the crew were doomed. In their final days, the crew would split off, with 5 men setting up a base camp and 3 going on in search of help. It was at this point the men started to perish, with Technical Sergeant Ripslinger continuing on the longest. Ripslinger would continue on another 43 kilometers from their base before passing. Frighteningly, the tragic events of that journey would not be the extent of the legacy of the Lady Be Good. In the years following the salvage, parts from the wrecked aircraft were repurposed by the U.S. military and attached to other planes. The dark twist in the tale is that many of these crafts also suffered grisly fates. It was almost as if the Lady Be Good was so cursed that it affected everything it touched. In fact, 3 separate U.S. military crafts that received parts from the wreckage experienced difficulties during missions. Firstly, the transmitters from the Lady Be Good were installed in a transport plane. However, the transporter experienced flight problems and ultimately dumped its cargo in order to secure a safer landing. This, of course, is eerily reminiscent of the Lady Be Good's own journey. A propeller plane that made use of a salvaged armrest crashed into a body of water in Libya years later. One of the only pieces of the plane that was recovered was the very same armrest that belonged to the Lady Be Good. Another military transport plane received the radio receiver. This piece of equipment that was central to its own fate was now inside of another aircraft. Unfortunately, this plane would suffer a dark fate of its own by crashing into the Mediterranean, the exact same body of water that many thought held the remains of the Lady Be Good for all those years. This brings full circle the unnerving nature of the mysterious crash and the curse of the tragic plane. We will let you be the judge of the curse. Is it purely a coincidence that the fate of the mysterious ghost plane followed these other aircrafts, or was something sinister or supernatural at play? Leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Comment below with your thoughts on the story of the Lady Be Good. Also, let us know of any other stories of survivalism and military mystery. We look forward to seeing you again soon.